Jackson Radio Show.
Hello, fellow patriots. You're listening to The Kevin Jackson Show on KJRadio.com. I'm Liz Matory, your guest host, and thank you again for hanging in with me today. So let's get back to this Me Too movement. A lot of people have talked about it. I'm just going to take my personal stab at it. I'm not going to lie. So I had told you that, I grew up with Chelsea, like 2 degrees of separation. Like one of my friends, one of her friends, what have you. She's a year ahead of me, though she is younger than me in age. And so when the Monica Lewinsky, President Clinton stuff happened, so I had no idea what all that stuff was because I was a late bloomer. I didn't know what. But all that stuff that we heard in the news, we were a little bit more innocent back then as a society, and definitely as me as an individual. But I had to ask my dad what all this was about. It was just so weird. I mean, if you think about it, Monica is only 3 years older than us. So again, now that I'm now 38 years old, looking back at it, I already knew that was wrong. Now that we have been interns and, now been supervisors of said interns and, power dynamics, the President of the United States did what? And so all the people who talk about, can you, how dare you support President Trump? He said these things on a bus. Oh, by the way, when he said he was a Democrat, but whatever. Honestly, in 1998, when I was a senior in high school, that episode of history, personal history, whatever, really changed my perspective. And I'm sure it changed other women in my generation and others perhaps older and younger of what really is out there. That was our huge lesson. Not only was it, hornbag, unfortunately, that's sad to say that it's a term that I use for one of my classmates' fathers, but it is what it is. I mean, it's not even necessarily the actual acts or the potential of said, but it's the cover up. And again, coming from the previous segment, the hypocrisy. Again, when you are supposedly the party of women's rights, and you as a unit defend and protect a sexual predator, you literally have zero credibility in my world, and I'm sure in other people's worlds. So all this stuff, all these things, this Me Too, hashtag Me Too movement is literally at least 25 years late. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I was 18 when that stuff came to fruition. And we know that his activity, you're only talking, I'm not trying to pick on former President Clinton, right? But I know for a fact that when we danced together at graduation, it was a little creepy, not gonna lie. I knew then that he was a little too slick for someone's father. So Weinstein, all these different people, and it's not limited to men in power. Women in power also take advantage of their power and take advantage of subordinates and people who might have their careers at stake. All of it is just, it really, really goes back to the fact that if anyone really cared this whole time, they would have done something when the cameras weren't on. When you hear, personally, I mean, as a woman in a professional environment, even as a school environment, you're always on guard. You always kind of have to, again, know your worth, know your self-value, know what you are comfortable with and what you aren't comfortable with. Some people like flirting. Yeah, sure. flirt if that's what you're comfortable with, but are there different dynamics when other factors are in place? Absolutely. You know, especially when there's like a freaking 30-year difference between a person who is the leader of the free world and an intern. I mean, and you expect us to, you know, rally the troops and be against the president of the United States now because you guys screwed up back then. And we literally do not have patience for your hypocrisy anymore. I remember when I was at one of my former jobs, one of my coworkers, technically I outranked him, but as you know, talk about wage disparities, we all knew that he was paid more than all of the directors who happened to be women. We all knew that he was paid more, number one. And unfortunately, my absolute boss was a woman, and that's a whole nother story. But I remember him coming into my office and sitting on my desk next to me while I was sitting on my chair. Nothing happened, but even the proximity and the sort of overt statement of getting in my personal space bothered me. I mean, I mentioned it to my immediate supervisor, and, you know, she said, yeah, like that guy has a tendency of, you know, being a little too slick. I mean, it's not just the media. It's not just, you know, Hollywood. It's not just politics. It's mamma jammas, men and women who are horrible human beings for like just, you know, whether it's getting into somebody's personal space to, you know, create a sense of like power struggle or grab or whatever, or to, you know, take advantage of someone, or to literally, you know, physically harm someone or psychologically harm someone. It happens so often. But the thing that we have to be mindful of is that we as women, or we as men, but we as the person who is going to be like, or potentially be harmed in a way, we're not helpless. You know, at the end of the day, you have to figure out are you willing to stay in that job? Are you willing to have that promotion? Are you willing to have that role? Are you, for what? You know, like, I don't think that, I think I should backtrack. I think that there are more options now for you to not have to settle for malarkey. I believe that if we have a strong enough system, a judicial system, that if something has occurred, you go to the authorities about it. You know, like, and yes, when you are a supervisor, which a lot of us women are, when you're a supervisor and one of your people on your staff come with you with a complaint, don't ignore it. You know, we shouldn't need, and we definitely don't need, this #me movement for us to do something about it and for us to be aware of it. Because I said before, yeah, President Clinton really, he gave me a lot of preparation to make sure that I was aware of folks like him. Do you know how sad that is? You know, whereas I'm with her, you know, Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton, literally that's why your hypocrisy, your singular hypocrisy of two individuals, of two American citizens, of two public figures, of two, you know, supposed leaders of our community, society, etc. Your credibility is literally gone. And again, that has literally nothing to do with our current President Trump. A statement, or, you know, I don't know, maybe there's whatever has happened. You have already set a precedent, a low set of standards, a lowering of our sort of decorum and demeanor of the, you know, the leader of the free world, that as long as you continue to create and fabricate these events, this, again, false philosophy, we're seeing you. We're seeing you for what you are. And again, like, it's just ridiculous. And I don't know why people support. There's so many things that are going wrong. What's going to be the last straw for y'all to, like, realize that party, or definitely the leftists, have nothing to offer you? Reality, honor, legality, like, I've had enough with the leftist hypocrisy.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.